and welcome everyone to another live stream. We've got a few special guests today. Lois, who's going to be doing a website teardown, some awesome kind of data and that. So definitely stick around for that. And Jacko's on with us again. So the Northern Boys are back. Yeah, how are you both? Are you okay?
Yeah,
All
I'm
good,
good.
all good.
How are you?
Yeah,
How's
what's
things?
going
How's
on?
things with the baby?
Good. Well, yeah, got a mixed bag. Brilliant, but it's quite scary sometimes because you know when a baby coughs, like it's not like us. It's just like, oh God, straight in hospital. Like last week we are in hospital twice, but he's all good. It's I've actually got quite a lot of sleep, which is something. Usually
Nice.
people tell you, oh, you never get any sleep when you've got a baby. We're getting like 8 hours. I can't complain. But yeah, how are you?
You
What are
say
you
that
doing with
now, and you might regret saying that, Jake.
Yeah, touch wood.
Touch wood.
Touch wood. Are you, what's been happening with you two, Lois? Have been busy?
Yeah, been busy. I mean, I don't have a child, so it's a different type of busy, I suppose. But yeah, all good, all good. Can't complain.
Class, Jack. Oh,
Aye, not too bad. Just been chilling out. Really, we've been really busy, like on our team, but it's been really good.
yeah. Well, it actually ties in quite nicely that we're doing this kind of how to build topical links in the food niche today because we've kind of well, we're not switched up our process a little bit. We're starting to find out what works in what industries a lot better now than maybe we were 2 or 3 months ago. So we've got some wicked insights. This has happened on a day where we've built an absolute ton of food related links, which I can talk through, and these all kind of landed after we'd done the deck yesterday, so a bit last minute, but yeah, it is what it is. So I'll run you through this. You know, usual drill. We'll run through the slides, and then Lois will come in and kind of run through the teardowns. But at any point, guys, if anyone is listening in and wants to find out more, just drop some questions in, and we'll, providing they're not pushing us on the spot, providing the nice questions, more than happy to run through anything like that. Want to make as interactive as we can. And yeah, just see them all really. If you do want to like and subscribe to the channel, we do have kind of plenty more of these in the pipeline. I think we're planned our live streams pretty much for the rest of the year, so there's all kinds happening, and there'll be some good info. So without further ado, I will just flick through these. So hang on a sec. There we go. So when we're talking about food-based ideas, I mean, food's quite a broad niche. You know, it could be consumer goods, it could be you could be a chef, you could be, you know, I don't know, like a retailer, whatever it might be. Um, it's all about how you create that food-based idea. But these three kind of points do work across those three. But we'll break it down a little bit more as we go. So, how to create a food-based idea? First of all, current social trends. Something that's absolutely taken kind of food journalists, food links by storm at the minute is TikTok. You'll see it. I mean, I have TikTok, bear in mind I'm nearly 30. And all I ever see is people posting reviews, hacks, do this in the air fryer, all that type of thing. If you're creating an idea, see if it's being talked about and posted about on TikTok and all that type of thing. So when you go to pitch the idea, you can tie it into a kind of current social trend. So that's one really good way of looking at it. And just by being on TikTok helps you, you know, create a story. Like I seen one, this is kind of tied into the links that we built today, about how you store onions. And it's the most boring topic in the world, but it's happening on TikTok, and I've seen people talking about it. So I quickly wrote up some expert comments, some expert hacks from one of my clients, and it's gone everywhere. So Yahoo, EOL, MSN, all of them have picked it up. Got an express link going live, all this type of thing. And it's just because we've seen what's happening on TikTok and try to replicate that as more from expert advice point of view, rather than just maybe food influencer posting it to 1,000 people on TikTok. So yeah, you can absolutely use social trends. I think tying into, you know, new products, new ways of doing things, new cuisines, all that type of thing is the way you're going to go. I mean, if you're pitching out a story on the right way to butter toast, you're probably not going to get picked up. But you know, if it's something a bit more interesting, seeing that storing onions not very interesting. But yeah, social trends is the way to go. Surveys, particularly useful. You'll always see these in the news about, you've seen those old tier systems like God tier chocolates, not God tier, then the bottom one. Stuff like that works. Do people prefer Coca-Cola over Pepsi? All that type of thing. People want consumer kind of thoughts on food, and that type of thing. So surveys is really good. Historic campaigns, you'll see this as a constant throughout me and Jack's kind of PowerPoints and slides, because have a look to see what's worked last year and replicate it for this year. We've got Easter coming up. Could you pitch out a story about how to create your own chocolate Easter egg at home and save this much money in the cost of living crisis? Like that, it's that type of thinking when we're looking at historic campaigns. There's a few ways you can look for historic campaigns. You could just type Easter egg recipes on Google in the speech marks. Go on Google News and flick it back to last year to see what type of places are covering what. The Independent always like to go for ethical angles around Easter eggs, where I don't know, like the Standard like to go for recipes. Same over in the States, like eat this, not that. Like look at kind of more recipe and kind of expert advice. But it's definitely a good way of doing it. Jack, have you got out add on them once, you think?
I just think I want to reiterate just the social trends. Like TikTok's massive at the minute, and I think it's trying to show like if something's trending on TikTok, it's going to be trending in the news a week or two later. Because there was a study released, I think it was just before Christmas, talking about that people aged like 12 to 23, I think it was a quite a weird age range. They go to TikTok first before Google now. So it's quite interesting that if a trend does occur on TikTok, guarantee it's going to be on Google a few weeks later. So TikTok's definitely a good place to search first, especially with trends. And surveys as well. I think surveys are always going to work, especially when they're comparing different. If you can compare different states, so like you've got, I don't know, Mississippi loves to eat this cake, whereas New York likes to have this cake instead. They always work as well because you're comparing two different audiences, and journalists love that.
Yeah, and I think it's quite competitive food as well if you are going for regional press. Like I know we always talk about it, but like there's different cuisines in every area of the country. It's not just like Mexican, Chinese, all that type of thing. There's different cuisines in every area of every country. And if you can somehow get your survey right, you can start to be a bit competitive with that and see like who's got the best cuisine in the country or whatever it is based on kind of consumer thoughts and all that type of thing. Because I stand by that our cuisine in Sunderland, where I live, is better than up the road in Newcastle. So it's that type of competitive edge that you need when you're launching a campaign. So yeah, that's a few thoughts on how you can create the idea itself. But I guess the main part is how to validate it. Couple of ones that we always include. Has it worked before? Is it newsworthy enough? Two massive ones. I think newsworthy ones aren't. It isn't as important as maybe how to build links in the finance niche, because it doesn't necessarily be having to be in the news all the time. Things come and go in the food industry, whereas in the finance niche, we know when the budget is, we know when people's got to file the tax returns, all that type of thing. It's not that volatile in food, it's steady away. You see certain spikes and certain drops, like when air fryers came in. We launched a campaign for one of our clients that we'll talk later, just air fryer hats. What can you put in there? Air fryer, what can you? Because there's a common kind of myth that you can't use tin foil in an air fryer because you can't use it in a microwave, and actually that's wrong. And that's the kind of angle you're looking for. So the topic isn't newsworthy; it's more what you put in it that is. The topic of an air fryer is old news now, but maybe that angle is a route in. Has it worked before? Alternatively, have you not seen it before? Like I think in digital PR and link building, and by my own admission, we always look to see, oh well, has it worked before? Can we add our own expertise or reshuffle it slightly to work again? But equally, if it hasn't worked before, that's probably, or hasn't even been pushed by anyone else before, hasn't been spoke about, that's probably a better route to go. With kind of food related stuff, because it's so volatile and it's so reactive. This is a new product, right? How can we pull some expert hacks together to push out on that? And then have you included everything? So what I mean by that is if we're pulling a survey on, I don't know, the US favorite cakes by state, it's all well and good just giving them the information, but have you also included an expert comment from your client or yourself, whoever you're doing it for, summarising the findings? Have you given them a press release? And this is quite a good one. Have you included a recipe of maybe the top 3 cakes in the US? We did this just the other day for one of our Asian kind of food websites that we work for, and it was all about how you can replicate a Chinese takeaway at home, like the Chinese fakeaway approach. But we also included a spring roll recipe at the bottom, which Kelsey pushed when the girls on the team did an awesome job. Got picked up by some national press. But it wasn't actually the story that got picked up. What got picked up was that the journalist actually reviewed the recipe and made it themselves and posted a review about it on national press. Don't get us wrong, she didn't do a particularly great job of replicating the recipe, but it's just a nice way of generating other types of coverage, obviously to help with Google's Eat and you know, trust and authority and all that type of stuff. So yeah, Jack, was there any other validation kind of points?
I think that one there, just kind of including absolutely everything. The more you can include, the better, because some journalists might just, as you say, just pull out one thing that you're not even intending on making the main story, and they'll just pull out and include it as a kind of a little bit extra in their own story that they've already written. So I think like definitely including as much as possible. Even like a little data table as well is good if you're doing data. Nice little visual like always good for journalists to use as well. But yeah.
Yeah, and on that kind of visual approach, if you are including survey data and that type of thing, you definitely don't need to be a graphic design professional to be able to knock up a little visual. You can use tools like Data Wrapper, which is a really good one. Been using that a lot recently. That's basically a kind of platform where you just put the data in, it'll just spit you out a table in the same format that journalists actually use, because journalists use Data Wrapper. So that's good. And obviously Canva and that type of thing as well. It takes 10 minutes to put the data in there, but it looks a lot better. Just be a bit careful of going wild on colours. I know journalists are a little bit touchy on kind of keeping in, you know, keeping on brand and that type of thing. But yeah, they're 3 good points on how you validate a food idea. So how to deploy a campaign? Similar approach again, who you're targeting, why you're targeting. I think probably adding to that why you're targeting bit is more, you know, trying to tie into something that's happening. One thing that we've been doing a lot of recently is kind of looking at what industry days there is, and how we can tie food into that. So there's always like International Muffin Day, International, you know, it was International Turkey Neck Soup Day yesterday, and we're getting replies for it. There's always a day you can tie a food campaign in around. You know, it's National Cocktail Day coming up, I think, on the 1st on Saturday. So one of our food clients, we've done a little survey on kind of which cocktails do people, including food, do people like the most. So there's like bacon smoked martinis and all that type of thing. So basically you can tie food into a lot of things. April Fool's Day, you know, you've seen the ones where people pretend that on Halloween anyway, that toffee apples, there's apples on the inside, but actually it's an onion and things like that. Where you can tie stuff together. So yeah, why are you targeting, and then who are you targeting? This is a really good one that I've kind of got a point on this, that food differs to a lot of other industries in the way that food's a universal language. So if someone's talking about air fryers in the UK, they're probably talking about it worldwide across a multitude of different websites. So people are always scared to build links on websites from countries that they're not actively targeting. But you've got to think of the bigger picture a little bit. Of it's a topically relevant link because they're talking about that topic. We're not driving customers to your website to buy products a lot of the time. You know, we're there to build SEO backlinks and, you know, building a link from, say, the express.co.uk to a US food expert, but it's talking about the same topic. That's super topically relevant. So when you're looking at who you're targeting, make this as broad as you can possibly go. Don't just focus on, you know, US journalists, because you want to be building links on kind of websites you haven't had links from in the past. So new referring domains. I mean, I had a US chef writing a recipe for us on haggis for Burns Night in January or whenever it was, February. So yeah, just make that list as broad as you can. And make a little persona of who you want to target. You know, are you wanting to drive a certain demographic of your website? Is it 18 to 30s? Oh, well, this cuisine might be the way to go, air fryers or something like that. Is it the older demographic? There might be a different angle you can go there. Is there anything else on that, Joe?
I think you've pretty much covered it there, to be honest.
Yeah. Spot on. If anyone's got any questions, by the way, just fire away. Happy to put them up. So, a few other kind of angles here. So I mentioned the days of the year, so that's in there. National Pizza Day was, when was it? Last month sometime. Yeah, 9th of Feb. So for one of our clients, what we did, and you'll see this all the time, the best ways to reheat food and all that type of thing. So we launched a campaign on the best ways to reheat pizza. Super simple, but using kind of TikTok trends and pulling them in. You know, people see it put ice in your pan when you reheat pizza. Things that historically people wouldn't have done, that have just banged it in the microwave, and then you would have ended up with a soggy pizza slice. So there's new innovative ways where you can jump on trends. And then there's just some Google trend data there. You know, that's a spike in people searching for reheat pizza. So it's like, right, well, this is happening. It's National Pizza Day. Let's pull some expert hacks using TikTok and just push it out ahead of National Pizza Day. So yeah, we pushed that out and it kind of went everywhere. Is it in the next slide? No, it's in the one after, but I'll run on to how well that did. But yeah, it's basically taking an industry day, taking some kind of, you know, TikTok trends and taking Google Trends and saying, right, well, this is an emerging topic. People are talking about it. Let's put some information out there. Spirit of Sapphire, that is a great idea. The pineapple debate would have been good for Pizza Day. And do you know what? I'm actually going to write that down. Sorry, I'm nicking your idea here, but I love that idea. So that is going into another survey that I'm going to launch.
Does pineapple go on
yeah.
pizza for you guys? Do you like pineapple on
No.
pizza?
Not at all.
I'm leaving. I'm gone.
However, Lois,
Elite.
I have some really bad pizza opinions. Like one area in mine, one restaurant, well, there's loads of restaurants actually. Indians do curry pizzas, and honestly, it's the best. You can just get any curry, and they just put it on a plain base and top it with cheese, and it is the best thing. I usually get a chicken madras pizza, and it's the best thing you've ever eaten in your life. So who am I really to say no to
What?
pineapple?
They are
That's
unbelievable.
insane.
Like, forced me to have one before. They are really nice.
What? That is not a thing here, guys. Wow. I would try it. Yeah, I think they are. Wow.
What else we got? Reheating a pizza in the air fryer. Well, that's the type of angle. Like we've pushed angles around air fryers and, you know, what you can and can't do. How do you cook potatoes in the air fryer? All this type of thing. A simple comment like that pushed out to people that's writing about air fryers. It's gonna work if you get it right. Yeah, so they're two wicked ideas, Spirit of Sapphire. Send us your CV if you want to. Jack, anything you want to add on this kind of campaign?
Just think with like the days of the year for me, I always like to look a year behind, so a year like historically, just to see which ones are actually being talked about in the news, because there's that many different ones now that you need to pick which ones are actually being talked about, and it's hard to kind of judge which ones are going to be spoken about before they happen. So it's good to look historically because it's quite hard to predict kind of which ones are going to be in the front of the news. But not like National Pizza Day kind of always is. And the banana bread one was when we were coming out of lockdown. Like that one always gets spoken about now because of like lockdown. So just kind of knowing which ones are going to be the popular topics is probably the best thing. Because there's just well, there's so many different ones now that it's just there's a lot of noise, so you know you try and get through it.
Yeah, and you can make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. Like I pushed a campaign out the other day for National Chia Seed Day, and really, when I pushed it, I knew that no one would be talking about it. So it was a waste, really. So you will make mistakes along the way, but don't be scared to kind of jump on a day of the year. You know, sometimes we'll get journalists reply to us saying, "Do you think anyone's talking about that day of the year?" But it's all part and parcel of learning, you know, what's going to be trending and what's not. As long as you're making sure you're contacting the right people, you'll not get some snotty replies like what I do. So I've touched on this one, but pitching the tips, getting a few weeks before the industry day if you can. So I pitched that reheat pizza one, you know, a good few weeks before. I think if you are using TikTok as a source and maybe not a contact, not building your idea around the day of the year, then you can be very reactive. Like often we get journalists coming to us saying, "Look, this has happened on TikTok. Can one of your chefs comment on it?" And that's like a day turnaround, and that's more reactive rather than proactive. So it's about getting them both, get the balance right. But it's definitely not as long of a lead time as maybe certain things like, when we know that summer's holiday season's coming up, you're going to want to be pitching holiday and travel stories in January ahead of June and July and that type of thing. With food, it is a lot closer lead time, which is obviously better for building links because then know if a journalist gets back saying this is awesome, I'm going to use this. It's going to be in a couple of weeks. So it's a lot quicker to build links, I guess. Offer recipes, we've discussed this, and samples if you can. So if you are fortunate enough, or you do have a website which sells products and that type of thing, don't be scared to offer a journalist a sample. And this isn't us giving them a little backhander to give us a link. It's also good for brand, more the PR side of digital PR. So what I was mentioning about the Easter eggs and the ethical side, we worked with kind of a massive shop in England called Tradecraft, who were like the pioneers of kind of fair trade products and all that type of thing. And every year we would send out vegan Easter eggs to multiple journalists, and every year it worked. Sometimes you don't even need to tell them you're sending it; just send them it in the post and they'll cover it. Obviously, it's better if you do tell them. But yeah, offering recipes and samples is a nice little sweetener for food related kind of campaigns, and it's something that other niches might not have as much of. Obviously, if it's a finance campaign, you can't give them a sample, or you can't give them a free financial audit, or that type of thing. But yeah, in the food niche, if you are fortunate, or you do have an online kind of website selling products, send them it. I think that's a good way of doing it. Follow-ups for food campaigns are a lot kind of a shorter lead time, like I mentioned before. If you're pitching a finance campaign, you launch a campaign in January and it's something for March and April, you can maybe follow up close at the time. But with food, make those follow-ups a little bit shorter. Because it's National Cocktail Day on Saturday, I've sent my pitch out this week, but I'll probably follow up tomorrow. Just say, "Oh, hi," like just a reminder that it's happening tomorrow if you want to jump on it. So yeah, follow-ups are really good. One thing I would probably never send more than 2 follow-ups. Ideally just 1, send your campaign and then follow up. Other good ways of doing it is following them on Twitter before you pitch to them. I found this one quite useful. Probably because if you're walking around with your phone and you say, "Oh, Jake Holyoke, Digital PR has followed you," and then you get to your desk after your lunch break and you say Jake Holyoke's emailed you, it's just about getting in the heads a few different ways. And relationships are really good and valuable in the food niche. Like we've got multiple people, like Phoebe, who I work with from the Express, just literally just comes to us all the time now, says, "Jake, I need an expert to comment on this." So I've got a rhubarb crumble recipe going live in the Express on Saturday for one of my clients, and she only contacted us yesterday. So yeah, that's a good few ways of food campaign tips on pitching. Jack, or is there any other ones on that?
So no, just on follow-up, something that I've been trying recently is if I'm doing expert comment, just in the follow-up, just add an extra bit and just say, instead of like saying, "Oh, did you have a look over my previous email?" Just say, "Oh, I've found some extra info for you, like that can provide help for that from the last email." So I might include a little bit extra data in my follow-up email that then is useful. And then the journalist thinking, "Oh, well, he's coming to me thinking that I'm going to cover the story, but he's actually providing even more information." It can sometimes help.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And another way of kind of pitching them as well, when we're talking about did this journalist cover a similar story maybe a year ago? We just launched a campaign around it came from TikTok as well. A lot of US kind of food influencers have been reviewing like English or British, sorry, snacks. So like they were trying like Marmite and Bovril and all this type of thing, and then like rating it. So we did a little survey on which US, what UK foods do US people like to eat. And what we did was we pitched it to Insider, weirdly, who'd covered that exact same story maybe like 6 months ago. But doing it that way is a good way of saying, like, "Oh, actually, we've seen you've covered this before. We've got some updated information. And actually, we've done a little survey to run with it, kind of exclusive to you if you want it." So yeah, there's a few good ways of pitching food tips, but I think the scope's so big in the food niche to build links. As long as you get some of these in there and make sure we include everything, it should be plain sailing. So yeah, on that kind of reheat pizza one, this did go quite a few places. So Wheels Online, but not just there. We have Reach PLC over here, which is the major group that own kind of 30 or 40 of the UK's national newspapers. Wheels Online, Belfast Live, all that type of thing. And that went everywhere. So that was good. We had an express link, but then in terms of topical relevance, these are the two that the real the big drivers. So you've got Delish and Eat This Not That. And Yahoo News, which is Yahoo Lifestyle section. So that was just from the reheat pizza angle. Just shows that if you get everything right, it can have that kind of snowball effect very quickly in the food niche. Jack, do you want to run through these ones?
Yeah, I can do. So yeah, being unique, how can you newsjack the story? So this is basically when you see an emerging news story, kind of appearing in Google News or even on the telly, you can kind of reach out with journalists with expert comment from your point of view. But as long as you're offering the journalist something new and something like newsworthy at the end of the day, like you can kind of guarantee yourself a good link, because there's not a lot of journalists expecting like expert comments on an emerging news story. They're always expecting someone to say like, "Oh, can you write me a story on this? Write a news story on that." You're actually coming to them with help, and that can also help their story that they've already released. So when you're newsjacking like that, there's loads of journalists where you're kind of getting the first bite of the apple, really, which is like really good, really helpful, I think, and it's a really good way to build links. We include a new TikTok trend. Not like we haven't spoke about TikTok enough, but yeah, just TikTok's just, I think we're finding at the minute, because it's just in everywhere. It is just everywhere. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's trying the trends. All the journalists are trying the trends as well. It's just it's like an outlet that you can use to your advantage, really, especially with all the trends going on. Just look at what's trending on TikTok. Look at the hashtags and everything like that. Even the new sounds that appear, just kind of, some of them are crazy, like, but some of them are really useful. Like, I saw one the other day, and it was someone made garlic bread out of crumpets, and honestly, it looked unbelievable. Honestly, it looked lush. So like, just line of crumpets, garlic bread, cheesy garlic bread, it's like stuff like that. That's a food one that you could talk about. And then last one, just leveraging contacts. I mean, we use contacts all the time. So once you provide a journalist with some useful information, they're always going to come back to you, kind of, if it's good. And
Have I just there we go. Sorry about that. Don't know what I was trying to do.
Yeah, so once you've got the contacts built with journalists, yeah, they're always going to come back to you for expert comment. Like Jake, as you were saying before, you've got contacts in the Express who always come into you, kind of asking if they need some help on a story, or they do need an expert's opinion. They just come straight to you for it, which is like amazing, because then you guarantee yourself a link there once you've built up that relationship.
Yeah, and on that as well, like that Eat This Not That, which is, I think it's a DR82, but those do follow links as well, like 1 million plus organic visitors a month. Like, I think for one client alone, we've had something like 17 different, or 14, maybe 14 or 17 different links and articles over the past 3 or 4 months. And usually you would say, oh, well, you want to make sure that you're targeting a multitude of domains and all that type of thing, which we do. But we're also not going to see a no to having renewed kind of articles with fresh links and fresh topical relevance, I guess, on all of them. So yeah, contacts are massive in this nation. I think it's because there isn't a lot of experts. There's a lot of people pretend to be experts, i.e., if I had a blog, just because I can knock up a decent steak, but that's about it. So I think making sure you're leveraging your contacts, keep going back to them as well. Don't feel scared to just pick up the phone or email them and say, oh, I'm either representing a new client, or I've got this new bit on my website, or I see you're now writing about this. Can we help? Just keep checking in, because there is a lack of experts in the industry. So you can definitely beat the race to get that link.
Yeah, keeping the campaign for next year. He's one that we kind of I've just had a link go live, I think it was yesterday, for a piece on Ramadan actually. And it was just kind of, it was an expert explaining what the health benefits of fasting could be. And obviously, since Ramadan's happening now, the journalist just tied it into his story about it. So the initial angle of the outreach wasn't even anything to do with Ramadan. It was just to do with fasting in general. But because the timings linked up, like I knew from when Ramadan was going to be, to outreach something about fasting, and thought it could get picked up. So I haven't made that connection the journalist has, which is something really good, to be honest, because then it's like he's keeping that on file, the comment that I provided on file. So if there's going to be any further stories about fast and Ramadan, anything like that, you probably use it. And just keeping campaigns for next year. If something has worked, chances are similar journalists are going to cover this exact same story next year, especially when it's going to be National Pizza Day the same day every year. Easter's going to come round, like there'll be a National Barbecue Day. Like there's all sorts that you can kind of guarantee there's going to be a story written about that you can just jump on every year. And once you've kind of got your foot in the door and you've already provided a journalist with something and they've already put it live, then you can just contact them again. Just make sure you keep a list on the side of all the journalists who've basically covered your story, and you can just go and contact them again. Like, don't be scared to reach back out, even if it's a month before the day happens the following year. Just say, look, we're thinking about writing another comment on this, another bit of data. Is there anything that we might be able to tweak to make sure that we do get the story? Because sometimes the journalists are like an exclusive as well. So if you can kind of offer the journalist an exclusive before it's even been written, then you can kind of tailor it towards the journalist as well. And it's a good way to pretty much guarantee a link, I think.
Yeah, and no, it's really good. And I think in terms of kind of continuing the series, making it a series, like that reheat pizza angle, I'm actually pushing a reheating Chinese food angle. Um, and it just makes logical sense to go back to people that's covered your last story and say, oh, actually, we've done this for you as well. Um, because these type of stories are a little bit clickbaity when they post them, they know they get good numbers on the kind of people that's viewing it and all that type of stuff. So if you go at them with another one without even them asking, you definitely, because a lot of these journalists as well are SEO writers, so they look to see what's trending. So even if you say, right, well, you've got that reheat pizza link, because the reheating angle is obviously something that's trending at the minute. Try and get ahead of the game and give them some more, so that, oh right, reheat Chinese curry is now trending. You've already got in there, and they'll keep it on file. So yeah, I'm pushing that one. One other thing as well, when you are targeting it, try and make them a little bit shocking as well. Like the Chinese food angle we've gone for is looking at certain bacterias that live in Chinese food as opposed to other cuisines. So we've actually got like a medical expert, like a nutritionist, to comment on it as well. And it's like, if you reheat your Chinese this way, this could happen. So it's a little bit clickbait, but it's genuine. You then hitting health editors and all that type of thing alongside your food one. So that's what I was talking about you can really scale something pretty quickly. And then, if you leftover Chinese food, you're also saying, right, well, you're saving this much money by not getting a takeaway the next day, or by making it at home, you could save this much. So then you're going for personal finance editors and shopping editors, and you're taking one idea on reheating pizza or Chinese, and you then can change it and flip it to multiple different kind of sectors. And your major list then goes from 1,000 to 5,000, just like that. So yeah, that was a good one. I'll let you know on the next stream how that Chinese curry angle, but I've put myself in it now. I've not, if it doesn't work, I'm natted a little bit. I'll pick this one up, Jotto, because this is just one that I added quite late. About becoming the go-to. Again, we've mentioned it quite a lot, but I didn't want to just tell you, that they're coming to us without backing it up a little bit. So that one at the top, Phoebe from the Express. Do you have a chef that can help with season rhubarb? Then second one, Eat This Not That. Funny enough, 2 stories popped up. Mind help me out. Then there's another one on fast food chains and all that type of thing. And just being out there and pushing things. Like one was a really weird one. I think it was the Daily Mirror in the UK just messaged me direct saying, "Hi Jake, I've spotted you represent a client that got featured in the Express. I would love to get his or her expert comment on a story I'm writing." And it comes back to that point that there isn't a great deal of experts out there. So if you can be that expert, it can go a long way. Like that one there, bottom right. Hi Jake, I'm a reporter with Newsweek and stumbled on your tweet that you have a client who's a 20-year professional chef. Like I haven't even contacted them. They've never even given us a link. They've just seen something and thought, oh, I need that expert. So yeah, that's just a few ways of becoming the go-to. One thing with kind of food niche as well, horror and journal requests are massive as well. Even if it's just to start that relationship. You know, I started my Eat This Not That kind of journalist relationship via a horror response. I help a reporter out.com if anyone's not aware of what that is. Which basically just gives you loads of kind of requests from journalists every day. I think you get like 3 a day requests, and it's broken down in industry. So it'll be like, look for chefs that can comment on this, and you just reply to. They give you a special email address. Just reply to that, and if they post your article, then you can start building on that relationship and maybe not have to do that all the time. Because in an ideal world, we would be the go-to. We wouldn't even need to be pushing campaigns. We get that many journalists coming to us, and it's just about having that black book contacts really. So yeah, I'd say in the food industry, definitely becoming the go-to, becoming the experts is super important. For those guys tuning in who've got their own niche sites in the food space, obviously we don't like to be pushing fake news, but one thing I would say is making sure that your persona pages, your about us pages are really beefed out to look like this person is a massive expert. If it's just me, you know, Jake Holyoke, who's had a passion for kebabs since he used to go over the town each day a day, they're not going to listen to us. Make out it's Jake who's took a culinary course in this and, you know, has been regularly featured speaking about this and that type of thing. It's going to help you in the long run because journalists will ask, are they a chef? Are they an expert? Are they a nutritionist? Are they a recipe creator? Anything like that. So you need to make your about us pages as beefed out as you can without creating fake news, of course. So yeah, just to kind of summarize really before Lewis gets onto her wizardry. So top tips: must have a clear news hook, or must be kind of tying in to something current, then kind of together. There must be an expert point. Obviously, I've just touched on that. Again, I'm not saying you have to be an expert. I'm just saying the person on your about us page who attributes the quotes to is an expert. You must build a strong media list. I think sometimes when you use major databases, and you just put something like, I wanted to pull journalists who wrote about food, you need to really refine that list because people might be talking about what Kim Kardashian had for dinner and they're not going to be bothered about how to reheat pizza. So really spend time on your major list, but you can make it big if you just add a couple of different variables to campaigns. Probably the main one for this is you must offer more than just a hack or just an expert comment or just data. Try and include them all. You know, try and include data. Try and include an expert comment summarizing it. If you can, try and include the nutritional benefit of whatever you're pushing, or the financial benefit, or whatever it might be. And if it is very food specific, push out a recipe, push out a sample if you can. All that type of thing. You must offer quite a bit in food. What we do find is open rates for our food clients are a lot higher than others, but we include a much longer pitch than we would for different industries, and it's because you just need to get everything in one email. This is the survey data. This is just expert comments summarizing what we found, and these are the kind of recipes if you do want to recreate that specific thing. So yeah, Jack, any more tips on that before we wrap up?
Not really. I think my main one as well, just on the media list side, we use Google News quite a bit to just kind of see who's written about what story. It's a bit of a longer process, but if you type in like National Pizza Day and then go on Google News, and you can open all the articles in separate tabs and just basically scroll down and find the journalists from each one. Then you can contact them directly. So it takes a bit of a longer time because you're going through individually, but you can guarantee that they have 100% written about that story. Then when you're outreaching to them, you can actually reference that story with a link, include, oh, I've noticed you've written about this, then include the link, then say a bit about the article and say, oh, this is how I could actually help. I've got an expert in this. This is how they could help. That's one way I like to do it.
Yeah, and another thing, I guess, just to wrap up, I know I've been saying this for the last 10 minutes, but public pitching on social media can work quite well in food. You know, just reaching out to a journalist direct on Twitter saves you having to pay for an email platform, and it saves you having to pay for major databases. Just pitch some ideas to journalists, just tweet them. Don't be scared to kind of push boundaries in the food niche. Nothing you're going to do is going to be, on the fence. Say it's financial and you pitch an idea and you've got something slightly wrong or slightly contentious. It's kind of grey area. You might not want to do that. But for food, what's wrong with just pitching an idea to a journalist on Twitter? Really good way of doing it. If you are, I know I did mention about kind of building links on websites around the world. I guess if you are targeting specific countries and you want to find journalists without using major databases, if you contact US journalists, they're really good on LinkedIn, so that's a good little tip rather than Twitter. Twitter's mainly UK, especially on the journal request hashtag. Don't know whether journalists in the UK just use Twitter a lot more, but LinkedIn's where it's at for US ones. And yeah, just then your usual major databases and that type of thing, little black book of contacts. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Has anyone listening in got any questions that they want to throw in before I hand over to Lois? I'll give them a minute or so to frantically type all the questions. Actually, Spirit of Sapphire did put you need to find a client for the TikTok pickle trend. I've seen this. Have you seen this?
I don't, what is it?
Oh, it's insane. There's the one I'm thinking. I think it's the same one, but it first came about, I think, when Americans were trying like huge pickles with a fruit roll-up, tackies inside it, and then like this like chamoy sauce and stuff, just like spicy, and then literally eating it. And then it's just like come over here now, and it's like you can buy pickle kits on TikTok Shop and stuff. It's bizarre, yeah. But they're like 12
It's not how
quid.
people profit, isn't it? Monetize something so ridiculous.
Insane, insane. Yeah, but I mean, if you like pickles, like I'd say give her a go. I do want to try it, but I just can't. I like they're literally like £12. I'm like, I'm not paying that for a bloody pickle and a bit of
as well on
crisps.
that. The huge, like it's
Huge.
a proper mouthful.
Yeah, like not like just like a little gherkin, a huge pickle. So yeah, they're insane.
I couldn't do that.
But now we've talked about it, Jack, I guarantee you go on TikTok and that's all you'll see.
Probably, yeah. My phone just
Yeah. But yeah, it's insane.
Right. Well, no more questions. So Lois, I will hand over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen for you guys. Right. So, can you all see my screen? Are we all good? Yeah, we all good. Cool. Right. I'll just. Oh. Okay. So, sticking with the food niche, guys, we have a lot of age domains on the site, a lot within the food niche, a really, really good niche to get into. But the first one we have today is a Samoa Food. It's a DR20, 264 domains, and it is 12 years old. So this domain was created by a guy back in 2012. He was Samoan. He was working away, and he just really wanted to create a site where he could share his wisdom, his recipes, and sort of connect with the Samoan community while he was away from home. So this is what it looked like. As you can see, he has a little motivation tab here, just talks about how he's missing home, how he wanted to create this site for that case, Samoan food culture, recipes, loads of different stuff on here, which was awesome. And then we have our backlink profile. So as I mentioned, 264 domains. Really, really good ones to start with, considering it's a DR20 and it is a very old age domain. But obviously we have all the Pinterests, really, really good to be backlinking with, especially within the food niche. Loads of recipes and stuff on Pinterest, so that's awesome. We have lonelyplanet.com, Smitten Kitten, Foodprint, Polynesia.com, and keyingredient.com. So really, really good backlink profile to be starting with. And again, with the anchor text profile, like with all our age domains, we really look into this, just seeing that there's loads of branded anchors and stuff, nothing there is sort of off-putting or anything, exactly the type of anchor text you see naturally in the content for this site, and that's exactly what we are getting from this anchor text profile. And then again with our best by links, We're looking at the homepage right at the top. Very natural. The majority of the referring domains are going to the homepage, exactly what we look for. And then there are a couple of recipe pages as well that we could potentially be looking into to redirect. So our strategy for this domain, we are sticking with Samoan food culture, popular Samoan dishes, common foods eaten in Samoa, traditional Samoa food recipes, history of Samoan food, and all that stuff. And then we could also potentially broaden it out into all the other Polynesian islands and their sort of food cultures and all stuff like that. So a lot of content to be written about within this Asia domain. So one competitor, this one is OcullusHawaii.com. DR46, 144k worth of organic traffic. That is per month. Really, really good traffic to be getting. 357 pages. And these guys focus specifically on Polynesian style cooking, recipes, the exact same type of stuff that we will be looking into creating for this Sage domain. As you can see here as well, the top keywords and pages, it's the exact type of recipes and stuff that we will also be including. And then we have a huge other competitor, so AveryCooks.com, DR74, and then over 900k worth of organic traffic per month. Huge amount of pages, but this is also something that we could definitely achieve within the strategy that we have come up with too. And also really great representation of the type of opportunity that is available within the food niche. And now we have our second domain. This is an incredible domain. This is going to be snatched up really quickly. I can just see it. So this is Jane's Adventure and Dinner. As you can see, DR41, insane DR to be getting with our age domain, is 12 years old and has a incredible 642 referring domains. So this was created by Jane, again, back in 2012. She just really had a passion for cooking, like a lot of the people who do decide to go into the food niche. And she really also enjoyed teaching others how to cook. She had a load of recipes, good home cooking, and really provided a variety of different dishes and stuff within canning, appetizers, soups, salads, entrees, desserts, baking, beverages, the whole shebang. So really loads of content that she covered. So this is what the site looked like when it was live. As you can see here, all of her different pages and her categories and stuff. And then there was a lot of content within that too. And as I mentioned, 647 referring domains for this one. Huge amount of referring domains, which is absolutely awesome. We have food52.com, Crazy for Crust, Recipe Girl, All Women Talk, Jessica in the Kitchen, Paleo Hacks, honestcooking.com, and so on. And as you can see, these DRs as well to have these backlinks from all the way from 84 right down to 70. So really impressive backlink profile to be starting with. And then again, with our anchor text profile, all nice and branded right at the top. And then it's just all the different recipes and stuff that she used to create. So again, really natural looking anchor text profile, which is exactly what we like to see. And then we have our best by links. As you can see here, right at the top is our homepage. We have 278 of our referring domains go into this. Very natural, exactly what we're looking for. And then again, similar to Samoa Food, there are a couple of recipe pages that we could potentially look into redirecting, as they have a lot of referring domains go into them. And again, our strategy for this one, pretty much very similar to all our different types of food domains. So how-to guides, informational pieces on different world food, cuisines, food traditions, that type of stuff. And then our main point of the strategy is going to be recipes and listicles. Because she covered so many different types, there is a lot to cover. So there's plenty to be written about for this one. And then again, competitors, we have kinskitchen.com, DR31, 205k worth of organic traffic per month with 228 pages. This is a lower DR than us, even this DR31, we are DR40. one, I believe, which is awesome. Really, really great opportunity for tomb raiding, the exact same type of content we'll be looking into as well. So definitely a good opportunity for us. And then we have another huge competitor, allrecipes.com. This is EDR 88, an insane 58.7 million of organic traffic per month. As you can see here, the pages, they have a hell of a lot of pages, but they do really focus on different types of recipes, how to, and stuff like that. So again, really, really amazing domain to show the opportunities available within the food niche, especially focusing on recipes. So these are these guys. As you can see, lots of categories on here with lots of different informative information, as well as newsletters. They have their own magazine. These guys are covering pretty much everything and anything when it comes to food. And that's the exact same type of thing that we would be looking at, including within Jane's Adventures, breakfast, baking, different types of ingredients, all your meats, your fruits, your veg, your pastas, meals, breakfast, lunch, appetizers, all that type of stuff. So again, this is an incredible competitor to be looking for, and definitely to be aiming for within Jane's Adventures. So what makes these competitors stand out that we've looked at today? So as I have showed you all recipes, but again, they do use their own imagery. They have obviously their magazines. There's cookbooks available from these guys. Their social media accounts are linked to each site, as well as Pinterest recipes and things are also included in the content, and really, really helps them. Frequent content is also being uploaded weekly, which is very, very important to be staying ranking on Google. You do not want to fade away. Your newsletters, then you do have your subscription opportunities within the newsletters, and as I mentioned with All Recipes, they have their own magazine. So loads of different things that makes these competitors stand out. And then for revenue and growth opportunities, we can pretty much do the exact same. As our age domain grows and we can help you grow, we really try to stop relying on Google as much. We really like to diversify your income with display ads, affiliate programs, newsletters. Even within the food niche, you can do your own courses, promote your own products, all that type of stuff. And then obviously diversifying your traffic from Google, you have your socials, you have your emails, all that type of stuff. And as well as all of that, EAT optimization is huge. We love to talk about EAT here on these live streams, but we cannot stress enough how important it is to have this optimization really, really up to scratch on your site. It will help you so much. As well as frequent content with these guys. We will be looking at, obviously, within our strategy. There's lots of content to be covering, and as well, we're helping you with that DR, writing that DR up. We have our link building opportunities too, and we've mentioned our data project before, but it's really, really something that we do really like to include within these streams. It's a huge project that we did. We have over 5,000 websites and stuff, all in different niches. But it really, really just shows you the type of banding, the type of traffic and stuff that you can get with the site, and then all the revenue opportunities or the traffic opportunities, and the amount of number of pages and the type of DR that you should be getting to get that type of revenue. So that is obviously why age domains are really why we absolutely love age domains. There's so much opportunity for these guys, and especially within the food niche as well. It's a very competitive niche to be in, but a really, really beneficial one to be in though. So yeah, that's me, guys. Does anyone have any questions?
That was awesome, that, Lois. You know what's really interesting when you pull out like the backlinks that they've got, like that one that you showed with Food 52, I think it was. Like that is so tough to get a backlink from. Like
Yeah.
notorious. Like, you can try. You probably have 500 pictures before you even get one, probably more. Like it's so tough. So that's really,
Mhm.
it's really interesting
Oh,
to see.
yeah, it's awesome. When I found that last one, I was like, oh my god. I was like, we have hit gold. So yeah, it's a really, really good one. So yeah, I don't think it's going to
It's
be
really
around
good.
very long, but it's awesome.
Mm.
Awesome.
I know. I wish I had. If I didn't have a newborn baby, I would buy it. Spending too much money on
Priorities.
nappies. That's for me, not the baby. Anyway, if anyone's got any questions, feel free to ping them in. We do have obviously the digital PR service is here. So if anyone does want to kind of connect and chat about it before we look into the website and look at the opportunity, feel free to reach out. I'm on LinkedIn and that as well. So more than happy to answer any questions. And like Laura said, if anyone's interested in any of the age domains, and there is some awesome ones without being super biased, Anish, feel free to reach out. I don't think we've got any questions. Have you got much planned for the weekend? I'll give people another minute.
Well, my best friend has just had a baby, I think, just before you, Jake, I think. So it's her first night out on Saturday. So we're gonna go out on the town and enjoy ourselves. I reckon she'll be home about 7 p.m. But it'll be fun. But yeah,
drunk off one wine.
yeah, exactly. So that's me, and then sort of recover on Sunday, basically. But I'm looking forward to Easter bank holiday. Very much looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, it's not long actually, is it? Next week. I keep forgetting it's even happening. Everything's
I
that busy
know.
and frantic.
I know.
But oh well. Well, we might as well shoot if we've got no more questions. But like I say, guys, thanks for tuning in as well, everyone. I hope to see you on the next stream. So feel free to like and subscribe. And yeah, if anyone's got any questions, either you can reach out directly or just drop Nisha a message, and we're more than happy to get back on that. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
And
guys.
have a good weekend.
Bye.